The Little Lost Bird. On a crisp autumn morning, when the air was filled with the earthy scent of fallen leaves, a young sparrow named Pip found himself lost in a vast, bustling city park. Pip was small, with feathers still a bit ruffled from his last molt, and he had yet to learn the courage to travel far from his family. But in a playful moment of curiosity, he'd flown just a bit too far, chasing after a particularly vibrant red leaf that had caught his eye. Now, as he perched alone on a high branch, he felt a pang of worry settle in his tiny chest. Pip chirped out, calling for his family, but his call was lost in the hustle and bustle of the city sounds surrounding the park. Below him, people walked briskly, lost in their thoughts, and children played in small groups, laughing and chasing each other. Pip chirped again, a little louder this time, hoping someone would notice his plight. Across the park, Mr. Harris was taking his usual morning walk. He was an elderly man with a gentle smile, his white hair peeking out from under a flat cap, and his eyes bright with the wisdom and kindness that comes from many years of life. Mr. Harris took comfort in his routine. He enjoyed walking slowly, savoring the changing seasons, and greeting the little creatures he often encountered along the way. That morning, he was just admiring the golden and crimson leaves that carpeted the paths when he heard a soft, hesitant chirp. Curious, he stopped, scanning the trees nearby. It didn't take him long to spot Pip, trembling on a high branch. The little bird looked lost and frightened, his tiny beak opening and closing in silent calls. Mr. Harris felt his heart soften at the sight, and he took a few gentle steps closer, raising a hand in greeting. "Well, hello there, little friend," he murmured kindly. Pip looked down, his bright eyes catching the elderly man's warm smile. Something about Mr. Harris's presence felt safe, and with a careful hop, Pip fluttered down to a lower branch. He tilted his head, as if considering whether he should trust this human. Mr. Harris took off his hat and extended his hand, palm open. "Don't worry, little one. I'm here to help," he said in a soothing tone. Pip, feeling a strange mix of hope and relief, hopped onto the man's hand, his tiny talons clinging gently to the warm, worn skin. Mr. Harris carefully brought Pip closer, creating a small shelter with his other hand to protect the little bird from the chilly wind. He sat down on a nearby bench, cradling Pip as he spoke to him in a low, comforting voice. "You remind me of my old friend Charlie," he said softly, his eyes sparkling with memory. "Charlie was a sparrow too. Used to come by my window every morning. Smartest bird I ever knew." Though Pip couldn't understand every word, he sensed the kindness in the man's voice. He nestled deeper into Mr. Harris's hand, feeling a warmth that wasn't just from the man's skin but from his heart. For the first time since he'd lost his way, Pip felt a little less afraid. As the sun rose higher, casting a soft glow over the park, a group of children came running by. They paused when they saw Mr. Harris with the little bird, their eyes widening with curiosity and delight. One girl, who had bright red mittens and an infectious smile, tiptoed closer. "Is he okay?" she whispered, her eyes filled with concern. Mr. Harris nodded, smiling at the children. "This little one just lost his way. We're keeping him company until he's ready to go home." The children gathered around, taking turns gently stroking Pip's soft feathers. The little bird chirped contentedly, enjoying the warmth of so many caring hands. Soon he was surrounded by laughter and gentle voices, and it was as if he had a new flock of friends looking after him. One of the children, a boy with round glasses, piped up. "How will he find his family?" Mr. Harris looked thoughtfully at Pip and then at the children. "Well, birds are very smart," he said. "I think he remembers the way. He just needs a little help getting back on track." With that, he showed the children how to carefully scan the trees, searching for nests hidden among the branches. They walked slowly, looking up at the leaves, calling out softly to other sparrows, hoping one would answer back. After a while, they heard a faint, familiar chirp in response to Pip's call. Mr. Harris and the children followed the sound until they reached a large oak tree with a nest tucked high up in its branches. Pip chirped excitedly, recognizing his home at last. Mr. Harris smiled as he lifted Pip gently towards the nest. "There you go, little one," he whispered. Pip looked at him, chirping one last time as if to say thank you, before he hopped back into the nest with his family. The children clapped and cheered, thrilled at the happy reunion. Mr. Harris watched with a smile, feeling a warm glow in his chest. It was moments like these, simple yet filled with kindness, that made him believe there was so much goodness in the world. From that day forward, Mr. Harris and the children made it a habit to look out for all the little creatures in the park. Each day they walked together, watching for lost birds, injured squirrels, or even caterpillars that needed help crossing the path. With each creature they helped, they felt their hearts grow a little warmer, knowing they'd made a difference, however small. And Pip? Well, he often visited the oak tree by the park bench where Mr. Harris sat, chirping a greeting to his human friend. He would perch nearby, watching over the man who had once held him in his gentle hands, a silent thank you in every flutter of his wings. And though Pip had found his way back home, he'd never truly left Mr. Harris's side.